This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream, but more on that later. 3B-29 super fortresses of the 509th Composite Group liftoff from the island of Tinian at 2:45 a.m. The three aircraft begin a long 6-hour journey towards the Japanese home islands. The mood is tense aboard Colonel Paul Tibbets's aircraft named the Enola Gay, after his mother. The date is the 6th of August, 1945, and the Enola Gay is carrying an atomic bomb, a weapon that will change the world forever. 8 years after Japan launched its unprovoked invasion of China in 1937, the Pacific Theater has raged on. Despite the deaths of tens of millions in what is now the Second World War, the end of the conflict doesn't appear to be near. Japan's empire has been slowly whittled away by the combined might of the Allied powers, but she refuses to surrender, even in the face of certain defeat. At the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa, Japanese forces are hopelessly outnumbered and outgunned, yet fight nearly to the last man while inflicting over 77,000 casualties on the Allies. The fighting in Burma has been equally savage. Now the Allies have begun preparations for Operation Downfall, the invasion of Japan itself. However, many in Allied high command are appalled by the casualty estimates for the invasion, which range from 297,000 to over 1 million. Fanatical kamikazes are expected to take a massive toll on the invaders, while the entirety of Japanese society will be mobilized to repel the attack. Upwards of 5 million Japanese citizens are expected to die in the invasion. With such a heavy cost associated with Operation Downfall, many, including new U.S. President Harry Truman, have looked for other ways to end the war quickly, without the need for an invasion. The United States may just have a way. On the 13th of August, 1942, the first offices of the Manhattan Engineering District opened at 270 Broadway in New York City. Under the command of General Leslie Groves, the Manhattan Project, as it came to be known, had one goal: the creation of the most powerful weapon ever. Developing pre-war British nuclear research under the supervision of General Groves and theoretical physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, the Manhattan Project grew to employ over 600,000 predominantly Americans, Britons, and Canadians working feverishly to harness the power of the atom. On the 16th of July, 1945, the first atomic bomb is successfully tested in Trinity, New Mexico. Armed with this knowledge, Truman, along with British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and Chinese nationalist leader Chiang Kai-shek, issued the Potsdam Declaration on the 26th of July, 1945, calling for Japan to surrender unconditionally or face prompt and utter destruction. The Japanese government ignores the ultimatum and continues to fight on, desperate to avoid prolonging the war. Truman gives final approval to use the atomic bomb against a Japanese city on the 2nd of August. The day prior, the bomb, codenamed Little Boy, is fully assembled and ready for use. General Groves and a targeting committee have already narrowed down the list of potential targets to 4, the cities of Kokura, Nagasaki, Niigata, and Hiroshima, which have gone relatively unscathed by bombing so far in the war. An hour before Tibbets took off, 3 weather aircraft lifted off from Tinian to reconnoiter the potential targets. Niigata has been ruled out due to weather concerns, leaving the 3 B-29s to report back on conditions over the other cities. Hiroshima and its over 300,000 inhabitants have already been chosen as the primary target. Weather permitting, it is an industrial and transit hub for the enemy's war effort, while also serving as the headquarters of the Japanese Second Army. 43,000 Japanese troops are stationed in the city, which also boasts a large port. Furthermore, Hiroshima's flat topography will hopefully maximize the destructive potential of the bomb. A B-29 nicknamed Straight Flush is dispatched to the city to determine whether conditions are good enough for a bombing run. At 5:55 a.m. Tinian time, Enola Gay arrives over the island of Iwo Jima and circles at 8,000 feet to wait for the 2 escorting super fortresses to catch up. Now, a quick word from this week's sponsor, CuriosityStream, a subscription streaming service that offers thousands of award-winning and original documentary films, shows, and series that you can't find anywhere else. Content covers military history, science, nature, technology, music, food, there really is something for everyone. You can watch on TV, PC, or a mobile device on the go, whenever you like. CuriosityStream brings a focus on history, science, and tech, perfect for all of us who love to learn through engaging documentaries. I enjoyed this 3-part series called World War II in the Pacific, and specifically the coverage of the Battle of the Leyte Gulf. Each aircraft has a critical role to play in the mission. Enola Gay will deliver the weapon, while the Great Artiste, piloted by Major Charles Sweeney, is carrying blast measurement instrumentation to measure the yield of the explosion. Necessary Evil, piloted by Captain George Marquardt, will observe and photograph the results of the mission. When all 3 aircraft have rendezvoused over Iwo Jima, the super fortresses continue towards Japan while awaiting the weather report. An hour and 20 minutes later, at 7:15 a.m., Second Lieutenant Morris Jepson climbs into the Enola Gay's bomb bay and pulls 3 green safety plugs out of the bomb, which had been put there to prevent stray electrical current from prematurely detonating the weapon. He replaces the plugs with new red ones to arm the bomb before informing Colonel Tibbets that Little Boy is ready to use. Tibbets pressurizes the aircraft and begins a slow climb to 32,700 feet while the crew put on parachutes and flak suits. All 3 reconnaissance aircraft arrive over their targets precisely at 8:09 a.m. Straight Flush is the first to report back 15 minutes later, sending a coded message to the Enola Gay which reads, "Cloud cover less than 3/10 at all altitudes, advise bomb primary." Tibbets once again turns on the intercom and informs his crew, "It's Hiroshima." A one-word message is sent back to the squadron security chief on Iwo Jima, primary. The Japanese defenses in the city sound an air raid warning, but the residents on the ground are hardly concerned about a single beat. 29. American aircraft have overflown the city plenty of times without attacking, the warning is lifted soon after, and life in Hiroshima goes on as normal. At 9:05 a.m., the Enola Gay's navigator, Major Theodore Van Kirk, informs Colonel Tibbets that they are 10 minutes from the target. The aircraft is flying at 31,060 feet when the city comes into view, and Tibbets prepares for his bombing run. Cloud cover is at just 10%, far better than the minimum of 30 visibility required for the mission. At 9:12 a.m., control over the aircraft is handed over to the bombardier, Major Thomas Farabee, and Tibbets orders his crew to don dark Polaroid glasses to protect their eyes from the flash of the explosion. A radio Hiroshima operator reports 3 aircraft in the skies above the city, and another air raid warning goes out. However, the warning is too late to allow any interceptors to scramble, and Japanese anti-aircraft batteries cannot hit the super fortresses at such high altitude. The aiming point for the bomb, the Aioi Bridge, comes into view at 9:14 a.m. Farabee calls out, "I've got it." The bomber continues to advance on its target. Little Boy has been set to air burst over the Aioi Bridge in order to cause the most damage possible. 58 seconds later, he shouts, "Bomb away," and the 9,700-pound Little Boy atomic bomb drops free from the bomb bay doors. Colonel Tibbets immediately throws the B-29 into a 155-degree hard turn to get away from the blast zone as quickly as possible. At the same time, escorting B-29 the Great Artiste drops instrument-bearing parachutes which will measure the impact of the explosion. On the ground, Hiroshima's streets are packed with early morning rush-hour traffic, and its residents have no idea of the impending catastrophe about to befall them. In the preceding days, American aircraft had dropped leaflets warning civilians to evacuate the city, but these are mostly ignored. An internal radar system tracks the bomb's descent as it plummets to Earth, traveling over 5 miles from the release point. At 1,968 feet above the ground, the radar altimeter and barometric sensors initiate the detonation. A gun primer launches a hollow uranium projectile at 980 feet per second into a uranium mass, causing a supercritical chain reaction. This achieves nuclear fission in 0.15 microseconds. After 43 seconds of falling through the air, at 8:16 a.m. and 2 seconds, Hiroshima time, the bomb explodes.